Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the invitation to present to you this afternoon. The title, as you can see, is on Responsible Foresight for Sustainable Development, taking its title from the chair of the same name just established at the University of Lincoln, and for which your university, or the University Alex Ekwueme Federal University, is a partner. We have yet to develop specific projects with our partners, and this presentation is perhaps the first step in that process. Well, thank you for your invitation. The aim of the UNESCO Chair on Responsible Foresight is to increase the capacity of institutions, communities and individuals to frame and act on sustainable futures through the construction of images, visions, stories, scenarios, models and other representations that have meaning in the present. The team have a variety of interests, but you will notice that they tend to link very closely to the kind of sub-themes that you have in your conference. In particular, I would point out Dr. Paul Ikwo, whose interests are in entrepreneurship and higher education, and who is in close contact and indeed introduced the partnership into the UNESCO chair. The broader approach of the chair is to address sustainable development goal-related projects with partners, framing each project through a forward view using various techniques and methods found in future studies, in order to stimulate transformative practices by expanding the anticipatory capability of the people that we work with, to create meaningful narratives of the possibilities, and to promote responsible and considered action to achieve better futures. And futures is really the key word here, anticipation and futures. Futures is important because society creates its own futures. They aren't predetermined, they emerge. And there are many possible futures. And not all futures are equal. We can't predict the future, but through our imaginations, our explorations and learning, we can learn from future studies, and that's rather the value and the mode of approach of future studies. So our social action creates futures. Creating better futures is therefore a responsibility of humankind, including me. Interpretations and decisions to act reflect our values. And a short word on anticipation. Anticipation is existential. The scientist Robert Rosen argued that living things, what distinguishes living things from non-living things is that living things anticipate. Non-living things don't anticipate. And I argue elsewhere that anticipation is both a disposition and is causal. Certainly it is difficult to get right. That doesn't, just because we do it, doesn't make our anticipations accurate. Sometimes we just can't anticipate fast enough, or sometimes we just get it all wrong. Indeed, the future is entirely unpredictable, and from a future studies point of view, prediction is the wrong paradigm. That's not what we do. What we do is explore futures. As Pierre Wack said, the gentle art of reperceiving, seeing different, where we've come from, where we are, where we should go. If you put it in epistemological terms, futures that alternative futures legitimately exist from here in an expanding universe. We don't know what futures will come. To some extent, we create those futures, but multiple futures are possible. We have a relationship with the future. Our actions are guided by our interpretations of the past, by our anticipations of the future. So the future is in the present as well as the past, and it guides our activity. The future exists in cultural fact. As Ajahn Apadarai put it, notable human preoccupations that shape the future as a cultural fact are imagination, anticipation, and aspiration. And so it's not just involving knowledge and know-how, but also emotions and sensations that it produces. We could say that all efforts to know the future, in the sense of thinking about it and using that future, are forms of anticipation. And equally, the future is incorporated into all phenomena.